My beloved, pause for a moment. Don't scroll past this message. I know you almost did. Your thumb was ready to move on, ready to look for something else to quiet the emptiness you've been carrying. I know disappointment has trained your heart to expect nothing, to protect itself by turning away. But something made you stop. Something tugged at your spirit and whispered that this moment is different. That something was me. This is not a coincidence. This is not a random chance that brought you here. Out of the millions of people who could be hearing this message right now, you are the one who stopped. You are the one who felt the pull to stay. You are the one who needed to hear what I am about to say. And what I'm about to say will change everything. I need you to understand something before we go any further. I have been waiting for this moment. I have been orchestrating circumstances, arranging timing, and preparing your heart for exactly this conversation. Everything that has happened in your life, every door that closed, every prayer that seemed unanswered, every delay that frustrated you has been leading to this moment, this message, these words, this encounter. I know about the 7 years. Yes, I said 7 years. And I felt something shift in your spirit when you heard that number, because you know exactly what I am talking about. You know exactly which 7 years. I mean the 7 years that were stolen from you. The 7 years of struggle, of waiting, of wondering if things would ever change. The 7 years of watching others move forward while you felt stuck in the same place. The 7 years of putting on a brave face while your heart was breaking. The 7 years of praying prayers that seemed to bounce off the ceiling. The 7 years of hoping for a breakthrough that never seemed to come. I have counted every single day of those 7 years. Every tear that fell from your eyes when no one was watching. Every prayer that you whispered in the darkness. Every silent scream that echoed in your soul when the pain became too much to bear. Every moment when you wondered if you had been forgotten. Every night when sleep would not come because worry had taken its place. Every morning when you had to force yourself to get out of bed and face another day of the same struggle. I have counted them all. I have recorded them all. I have remembered them all. And I am here to tell you the reversal has begun. Not the reversal is coming someday. Not the reversal might happen if you do everything right. Not the reversal is scheduled for next year or next month or even next week. The reversal has begun right now as you hear these words. I know you have heard promises before. I know people have told you that things were about to change only for them to stay the same. I know preachers have prophesied breakthroughs that never materialized. I know friends have spoken hope that turned out to be empty. And I know that each of those disappointments added another layer of protection around your heart, another reason to keep your expectations low. Another wall between you and the hope that once came so naturally. But I am not a preacher speaking from a platform. I am not a friend guessing at what might happen. I am not a well-meaning voice offering empty comfort. I am the God who spoke the universe into existence. I am the one who holds the stars in their courses and calls them each by name. I am the beginning and the end. The first and the last, the Alpha and Omega. When I speak, reality rearranges itself to align with my words. And I am speaking over your life right now. What I declare cannot be undone. What I promise cannot be prevented. What I determine cannot be defeated. The powers of hell itself cannot stop what I have set in motion. Every angel in heaven is aligned with my purposes. Every force of good in the universe is working on your behalf. The reversal that I am declaring is not a wish. It is not a hope. It is not a possibility among many. It is a divine decree, and divine decrees become reality. So let me tell you again with all the authority of heaven behind it, the reversal has begun. But before I show you what is coming, you need to understand something that will unlock everything else. There is a revelation I am about to give you that will change the way you see your past, your present, and your future. It will explain why the waiting happened. It will reveal what was being built in the seasons that felt like destruction. It will show you the purpose behind the pain. Stay with me until the end. What I reveal will change the way you see your entire life. I see you, not the version of yourself that you show the world, not the carefully curated image that you present on social media, not the confident smile you wear at work or at church or at family gatherings. Not that I'm doing fine when people ask how you are. I see past all of that. I see the real you, the one who exists when no one else is watching, the one who cries in the shower so no one will hear, the one who lies awake at night wondering if things will ever change, the one who has learned to function while carrying a weight that would crush most people. The one who keeps going, not because you feel strong, but because you do not know what else to do. You have become skilled at hiding, my child. Years of disappointment have taught you to protect yourself. You have learned to keep expectations low so that you cannot be hurt again. You have learned to say, "I am fine," when your heart is screaming that nothing is fine. You have learned to celebrate the success of others while secretly wondering why your own breakthrough seems so delayed. You have learned to smile through pain, to laugh through tears, to function through exhaustion. But hiding takes energy, pretending takes strength, and you are running out of both. Let me tell you what I know about you. And I want you to listen carefully, because I'm about to describe things that you have never told anyone. Things that you have buried so deep that you almost forgot they existed. Things that only you and I know about. I know that there have been moments, private moments, when you have questioned whether I was still there. Not loud questions, not angry accusations that you would speak in public, just quiet wonderings in the dark places of your mind. Does God see me? Does God hear me? Does God even care about my situation anymore? Did I do something wrong that caused him to turn away? Have I been forgotten? Have I been abandoned? Have I been left behind while everyone else moves forward? I have heard every single one of those questions, and I have not been offended by them. How could I be offended by the honest cries of a heart that is longing for me? How could I be angry at a child who is simply trying to understand why their father seems distant? Your doubts do not push me away. They draw me closer. Your questions do not offend me. They invite me into deeper conversation with you. Here's something you need to understand. I have been closer to you in these difficult years than in the easy ones. When everything was going well, you reached for me occasionally. You prayed when you remembered. You sought me when it was convenient. And I do not say that to condemn you. It is simply human nature. When life is easy, we forget our need for God. But when the storms came, when the waiting stretched longer than you ever imagined, you reached for me constantly. You prayed not out of habit, but out of desperation. You sought me not out of convenience, but out of necessity. You clung to me not because it was expected, but because I was the only thing stable in a world that was shaking. You may feel that the struggle has weakened your faith, but I am telling you that it has deepened it. The roots of a tree grow strongest when the winds blow hardest. The muscles grow strongest when they are pushed to their limits. The faith grows strongest when it is tested beyond what seems bearable. You are not weaker than you were 7 years ago. You are stronger. You just cannot see it yet because you are still in the process. But I see the finished product. I see who you are becoming, and what I see takes my breath away. Let me go deeper still. There is another layer I need to reveal before we continue. There's a fear that you have not spoken to anyone, not your closest friend, not your family, not your spouse or your pastor or your counselor, not even in your prayers. It is a fear that lives in the basement of your soul, and you have tried to pretend it does not exist. You have locked the door to that basement and thrown away the key, but I see it. I know it. I have watched it grow in the shadows of your heart, and I have been waiting for this moment to bring it into the light. You are afraid that the waiting has not been prepared. You are afraid it has been punished. Somewhere along the way, you started to believe that you did something wrong, that you missed a step, that you made a choice years ago that disqualified you from the blessing you see others receiving. You have replayed decisions in your mind, wondering which one was the mistake that cost you everything. You have asked yourself 1,000 times what you could have done differently. You have wondered if there was a moment when you took a wrong turn and ended up on a path that was never meant for you. Maybe it was that relationship you should not have entered. Maybe it was that opportunity you should have taken. Maybe it was those words you should not have spoken. Maybe it was that season when your faith wavered and you walked away for a while. You have examined your past like a detective looking for clues, trying to find the crime that led to your sentence of struggle. Listen to me carefully. That is a lie. The waiting was never punishment. I do not operate that way. I do not keep records of wrongs for my children. When you came to me and asked for forgiveness, I forgave completely. I did not forgive most of your sins and keep a few in reserve to punish you with later. I forgave all of them. I separated them from you as far as the east is from the west. I cast them into the depths of the sea. I remembered them no more. The delay was never rejected. I did not look at your life and decide that you were unworthy of blessing. I did not compare you to others and find you lacking. I did not see your failures and determine that you should be passed over. You are not being punished for something you did wrong. You are being positioned for something I have planned. The struggle was never a sign that I had forgotten you or moved on to someone more deserving. There is no one more deserving. That is the nature of grace. It is not earned, and it cannot be lost. You do not deserve blessing because of what you have done. You receive blessings because of who I am, and I am a father who delights in giving good gifts to his children. So why the wait? Why the 7 years of difficulty? Why the prolonged season of struggle while others seem to breeze through life without a care? I am going to show you something, but first, I need to reveal one more layer, the deepest one, the one you have buried so far down that you almost forgot it was there. There is a dream that you stopped dreaming years ago. Your heart was full of vision. You could see the life you wanted to live. You could imagine the person you wanted to become. You could picture the impact you wanted to have. That dream was so vivid, so alive, so real to you that you could almost touch it. You talked about it with excitement in your voice. You planned for it with anticipation in your heart. You believed it was coming with every fiber of your being. You knew that. You knew that. You knew that it was your destiny. But then the disappointments came one after another, like waves crashing against a shore. They eroded the landscape of your hope. The doors closed, not just one door, but door after door after door, until you stopped bothering to knock. The opportunities vanished. Jobs fell through. Promotions went to someone else. Investments failed. Businesses struggled. The relationship ended. People you trusted walked away. Connections you needed never materialized. My health failed. Your body betrayed you. The diagnosis came that you never expected. Energy depleted. Strength diminished. The finances crumbled. Bills piled up. Debt accumulated. Accounts emptied. And piece by piece, you began to dismantle the dream. You told yourself it was practical. Dreams are for children. You said reality is for adults. You told yourself you were being realistic. Not everyone gets to live their dream. Most people just survive. You told yourself that dream was for someone else, not for you. Some people are destined for greatness. You were destined for normalcy. You did not kill the dream quickly. That would have been too painful. Instead, you starved it slowly. You stopped feeding it hope. Every time a thought of the dream arose, you pushed it down with a reminder of all the reasons it would never happen. You stopped watering it with faith. Every time someone asked about your goals, you gave safe answers that required no risk. You stopped giving it the attention it needed to survive. You focused on just getting through today, and tomorrow's possibilities faded into obscurity. And eventually, the dream became so small, so weak, so silent that you could pretend it had never existed at all. You buried it in the graveyard of abandoned hopes alongside the other things you once believed were possible, but have since accepted as fantasy. But I remember that dream. I remember it because I am the one who planted it inside you. It was never your idea alone. It was a seed that I placed in the soil of your heart, designed to grow into something magnificent. Before you were born, I knew the dream you would carry. Before you took your first breath, I had already prepared the path to its fulfillment. Before you ever imagined what your life could be, I had already written the chapters that would lead you there. And here is what you need to know. The seed is still there. It has been dormant. It has been buried under layers of disappointment and self-protection. It has been waiting in the darkness of your heart, untouched by the sunlight of hope for years. But it is not dead. Seeds can survive underground for years, waiting for the right conditions to break through the surface. They can remain in a state of suspended animation, appearing lifeless, but actually preserving life within. Your dream has been in a similar state, not destroyed, just waiting, not dead, just sleeping. And I am telling you now, the conditions are changing. The season of dormancy is ending. The season of breakthroughs is beginning. What you thought was dead is about to come to life. What you thought was lost is about to be found. What you thought was finished is about to begin again. The dream you buried is about to resurrect. But before I show you the fullness of what is coming, I need to take you through something important. There is a revelation that will unlock everything. It is connected to the 7 years, and it will explain why everything had to happen exactly the way it happened. Stay with me. This is where it gets good. There is a pattern woven throughout the fabric of creation that most people never notice. It is hidden in plain sight, appearing again and again in the story of humanity. This pattern carries a power that shapes destinies and determines timing. It is the fingerprint of heaven pressed into the timeline of earth. The pattern is the number 7. When I created the world, I worked for 6 days and rested on the 7th. This was not because I was tired. The creator of the universe does not experience fatigue. I do not need to sleep. I do not need to recover. I do not need to recharge. I worked for 6 days and rested on the 7th because I was establishing a principle that would echo through all of time. After 6 comes completion, fullness, and rest. After 6 comes the Sabbath. After labor comes reward. After struggle comes breakthrough. This pattern was not arbitrary. It was prophetic. It was meant to teach every generation that follows that there is a rhythm to blessing. There is a cycle to breakthrough. There is a timing to transformation. When Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dream, what did he see? 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine. And what happened after those 14 years? An entire nation was saved from starvation. A family that had been torn apart by jealousy and betrayal was reunited in forgiveness and love. A promise that had seemed impossible, that Joseph would rule and his brothers would bow before him, became reality. Joseph went from prisoner to prime minister, from forgotten to famous, from victim to victor. All because he understood the power of the 7-year cycle. All because he knew that the famine would end and the abundance would come. When Joshua led the people of Israel to Jericho, how did the walls fall? They marched around the city for 6 days, once each day. I imagine some of them wondered what they were doing. I imagine some of them felt foolish walking in circles around a fortified city while the inhabitants laughed at them from the walls. I imagine some of them wanted to give up. I wanted to try a more conventional approach. I wanted to do something that made logical sense, but they kept marching. They kept obeying. They kept trusting. And on the 7th day, they marched 7 times. And on that final circuit, at the completion of the 7th cycle, the walls that had stood for generations collapsed in an instant. What seemed impossible became reality in a moment. What had blocked their progress for so long crumbled like dust. When Naaman and the leper came to Elisha seeking healing, what was he told to do? Dip in the Jordan River 7 times? Not once, not 3 times, not 6 times, 7 times. And I want you to notice something about Naaman's experience. The first dip, nothing happened. He came up out of the water still covered in leprosy. The second dip, nothing happened. The third, fourth, fifth, 6th dip, nothing visible changed. I imagine the doubts that must have swirled in his mind. I imagine the temptation to give up, to conclude that this was a waste of time, to decide that healing was not for him. But he kept dipping, and it was only on the 7th dip that his flesh was restored like that of a young child. The healing he had sought for years came in a single moment at the completion of the 7th cycle. Do you see the pattern? 7 is not just a number. It is a signal. It is a marker. It is a divine indicator that completion has arrived. When you see 7 in your life, whether 7 days, 7 months, or 7 years, you are looking at a cycle that carries the fingerprint of heaven. You are looking at a timeline that I have established. You are looking at a season that has divine purpose written into its very structure. Now, let me show you something about your own story. I want you to think back to 7 years ago. What was happening in your life? What changed? What started? What ended? Take a moment and really think about this. What door closed 7 years ago? What relationship ended? What health crisis began? What financial struggle started? What dream died? What season shifted? Most people who are hearing this message right now will be able to identify something significant that happened around that time. Not a minor inconvenience, but a major shift. Not a small bump in the road, but a complete change of direction. Something that marked the beginning of a difficult season. Something that started the clock on a period of waiting that felt endless. This was not random. When that difficult season began, you thought it was the worst thing that could happen to you. You thought it was the end of something precious. You thought your life was taking a turn in the wrong direction. You thought you were being punished or forgotten or abandoned. But what you did not know was that you were entering a divine cycle. A 7-year cycle that would test you, train you, transform you, and ultimately position you for the greatest breakthrough of your life. Let me tell you a story. There was once a farmer who inherited a field from his father.
The field had been in the family for generations, passed down from grandfather to son. It has always produced abundant crops. The soil was rich with nutrients accumulated over decades. The location was perfect, positioned to receive ideal amounts of sunlight and rain. The irrigation was ideal, fed by a stream that never ran dry. Everyone in the region knew that this field was blessed. When people spoke of prosperous farms, this was the one they mentioned. But when the young farmer took over, something changed. For 6 consecutive years, the harvests were poor. Drought came when rain was expected. The clouds would gather and darken the sky, and the farmer would think that finally the rain had come. But then the clouds would move on, dropping their water on other fields while he remained parched. Pests attacked when the crops were most vulnerable. Insects that had never been a problem before suddenly appeared in swarms, devouring what little had managed to grow. Storms destroyed what remained. Hail fell at harvest time, beating the crops into the ground. The farmer watched his neighbors prosper while his own fields produced almost nothing. People began to whisper. They said the blessing had left the land. They said the young farmer must have done something wrong to anger God. They said he should sell the field and find another occupation. Maybe farming was not for him. Maybe he was not cut out for this. Even his own family began to doubt. His wife wondered if they should move to the city. His children were embarrassed when their classmates asked about the farm. His brothers offered to buy him out of his inheritance. By the end of the 6th year, the farmer was ready to give up. He had exhausted his savings trying to keep the farm going. He had borrowed from relatives who now avoided eye contact when he entered a room. He had tried every technique he knew. Different seeds, different planting times, different fertilizers, different irrigation methods. Nothing worked. He decided that the 7th year would be his last attempt. If the harvest failed again, he would sell the land and move to the city. He would accept that the dream of continuing his family's legacy was not meant to be. He would admit defeat. He planted his seeds with very little hope, just going through the motions of a tradition that seemed to have abandoned him. He did not pray over the seeds like he used to. He did not walk the fields with anticipation like he once did. He did not imagine the abundant harvest that might come. He simply planted and waited for the inevitable disappointment. He had already started looking at jobs in the city. He had already begun to make peace with the loss. But something was different about the 7th year. The rains came at exactly the right time. Not too early, which would have washed away the seeds. Not too late, which would have left them withered in the sun. Exactly when they were needed. The clouds gathered and released their blessing. The sun shone with exactly the right intensity. Not too hot, which would have scorched the tender shoots. Not too cool, which would have stunted their growth. The perfect temperature, day after day, as if someone was controlling the thermostat of the heavens. The pests that had plagued the field for years suddenly disappeared. The farmer never knew why. The storms that had destroyed previous harvests went around the property as if guided by an invisible hand. He could see them raging in the distance, but not a single drop of destructive hail touched his fields. And the crop that grew was unlike anything the farmer had ever seen. It was not just a good harvest. It was not just an above-average harvest. It was not just a makeup for last year's harvest. It was a harvest so abundant that it made up for all 6 years of lack combined. The grain was so plentiful that he had to build new storage facilities. The silos he had could not contain the overflow. The quality was so high that buyers came from distant regions to purchase it. They paid premium prices without negotiating. The blessing was so obvious that everyone who had whispered about his failure now whispered about his fortune. The same people who had pied him now envied him. The same relatives who had offered to buy him out now asked for loans. The farmer was overwhelmed. He fell to his knees in the middle of his field, surrounded by more abundance than he had ever experienced, and he wept. Not tears of sadness, but tears of understanding. He finally saw what had been happening all along. The 6 years of drought had not been a punishment. They had been preparing. The soil had been resting, building up nutrients that would explode into growth when the right season arrived. The farmer's character had been developing, building up perseverance and faith that would be needed to steward the blessing that was coming. His pride had been dismantled so that humility could be built. His self-reliance had been stripped away so that God-dependence could take its place. Everything that looked like failure was actually foundation. This is what has been happening in your life. The difficult years were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to prepare you. Every challenge you faced was building something inside you. Every setback was positioning you for a comeback. Every delay was creating capacity for what is coming. Every struggle was developing strength you will need. Every tear was watering seeds that will soon produce a harvest. My beloved, remember this moment. You didn't stop here by accident, and what I spoke to you today was meant to reach your heart. Carry these words with you. Walk in the peace I've placed over your life, and trust that I am guiding every step you take. If this message touched you, please like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next word God has for you.